Loud Budgeting by James Fisher. Introduction. Loud budgeting is about taking control of your finances with confidence and making intentional money choices without fear of judgment. Instead of quietly cutting back on spending, loud budgeting means openly prioritizing financial goals and being vocal about money decisions. It challenges the idea that budgeting is something to hide and encourages people to set clear boundaries with their finances while inspiring others to do the same. This approach not only strengthens financial discipline, but also builds confidence, helps resist social pressure, and leads to greater financial freedom. By embracing loud budgeting, anyone can take charge of their money and create a stable, stress-free financial future. Chapter 1. Loud budgeting is the practice of being open about financial decisions, setting clear spending boundaries, and confidently saying no to expenses that don't align with personal financial goals. Instead of feeling pressured to keep up with social expectations, loud budgeting encourages honesty about money matters. By vocalizing financial priorities, individuals can reduce stress, avoid unnecessary spending, and create an environment where smart financial choices are normalized. Many people struggle with budgeting because they feel embarrassed to admit financial limitations, but loud budgeting flips that mindset. It allows people to take control of their finances without shame. For example, someone practicing loud budgeting might say, "I'm skipping this dinner because I'm saving for a down payment," instead of making an excuse or feeling guilty. This approach removes the stigma around budgeting and shifts the conversation toward financial responsibility. The goal is not to avoid fun or isolate oneself from social events, but to make spending choices that align with long-term financial goals. By being open, individuals also inspire others to adopt better money habits. One of the biggest benefits of loud budgeting is that it creates a sense of accountability. When financial goals are shared with friends, family, or colleagues, there's an added motivation to stick to the plan. If someone publicly states that they're cutting back on eating out to save money, they're more likely to follow through. This accountability can be powerful, helping people stay committed to their budgets while receiving support from their social circles. Instead of feeling alone in financial struggles, individuals practicing loud budgeting often find that others appreciate their honesty and may even adopt similar habits. Social pressure is a major factor in overspending, and loud budgeting helps counteract that. Many people feel the need to spend money just to fit in, whether it's attending every event, buying expensive gifts, or participating in activities beyond their financial means. Loud budgeting allows individuals to confidently say no to unnecessary expenses while offering alternatives that align with their financial situation. Instead of avoiding plans out of fear of spending too much, they can suggest budget-friendly activities. This not only helps their finances, but also encourages others to be more mindful about spending. Consider a group of friends planning a weekend getaway. While some might be comfortable splurging on a luxury resort, someone practicing loud budgeting could suggest a more affordable option without feeling embarrassed. They might say, "That trip sounds great, but I'm focusing on saving this year. How about a road trip instead?" This simple statement normalizes financial boundaries and helps shift the group's mindset. Often, others appreciate budget-friendly suggestions, as many struggle with financial pressures but hesitate to speak up. Loud budgeting is also a way to take control of financial narratives. Instead of letting others assume financial limitations are a sign of struggle, individuals can frame budgeting as a proactive and responsible choice. For example, someone who declines a costly event can proudly say, "I'm working on a savings goal, so I'm being intentional with my spending." This shifts the perspective from financial restriction to financial empowerment. It reinforces the idea that budgeting isn't about deprivation, but about prioritizing what truly matters. Another scenario is in the workplace, where financial expectations can arise through office lunches, gift contributions, or social gatherings. Employees who practice loud budgeting can confidently opt out of unnecessary spending without feeling awkward. Instead of silently struggling to keep up, they can say, "I'm skipping this lunch today. I'm sticking to my meal prep routine." This not only reinforces their financial goals, but also normalizes the idea that not every expense needs to be accepted without question. The impact of loud budgeting extends beyond personal finances. It helps build a culture of financial awareness. When more people become comfortable discussing money, it reduces stigma and encourages healthier financial habits. Open conversations about budgeting can lead to better financial decisions, less debt, and improved money management. It also challenges the idea that budgeting is something to hide or feel ashamed about. Instead, it becomes a source of pride and confidence. At its core, loud budgeting is about financial self-respect. It's about making informed choices, setting priorities, and not allowing social pressure to dictate spending habits. It encourages people to think about their financial future and make decisions that align with their values. By speaking openly about money, individuals can shift their mindset from reactive spending to intentional financial planning. In a world where overspending is often seen as normal, loud budgeting stands out as a bold and necessary approach. It empowers people to take charge of their finances without fear of judgment. By embracing financial transparency, individuals can build a healthier relationship with money, inspire others to do the same, and ultimately achieve greater financial stability. Chapter 2. Many people avoid talking about money because they fear being judged. Society often associates financial struggles with failure, and this leads to secrecy about budgeting. Loud budgeting challenges that stigma by making it clear that managing money wisely is responsible, not embarrassing. The truth is, nearly everyone faces financial challenges at some point, whether it's paying off debt, saving for a major purchase, or dealing with unexpected expenses. By being open about budgeting, individuals help normalize smart financial habits and break the silence around money management. A common reason people hesitate to talk about money is the fear of appearing cheap. Many associate budgeting with deprivation, assuming that someone who sticks to a budget must be struggling financially. In reality, budgeting is a tool for financial freedom. A person practicing loud budgeting isn't avoiding expenses because they have no money. They're making intentional choices to prioritize their financial well-being. Instead of thinking, "I can't afford that," they reframe it as, "That's not a priority for me right now." This small shift in mindset reinforces financial control rather than scarcity. For example, consider someone invited to an expensive weekend trip. Instead of silently stressing about the cost or making up an excuse, they could say, "That sounds amazing, but I'm sticking to my budget because I'm saving for a new car." This kind of honesty not only helps them stay accountable, but also normalizes financial discipline. Many people in the group might also be worried about the cost, but feel pressured to go along. Loud budgeting gives others permission to prioritize their own financial goals without shame. Another factor that contributes to the stigma around budgeting is social comparison. With social media constantly showcasing extravagant vacations, designer purchases, and luxury lifestyles, it's easy to feel like everyone else is spending freely. What's often hidden, however, is the financial strain behind the scenes, credit card debt, paycheck-to-paycheck living, and financial stress. Loud budgeting disrupts this illusion by being honest about real financial priorities. Instead of trying to keep up with unrealistic expectations, it encourages people to make choices that align with their actual financial situations. Take the example of a young professional who sees their co-workers frequently ordering expensive takeout lunches. Instead of feeling pressured to do the same, they embrace loud budgeting by openly saying, "I'm bringing my own lunch to save for my student loans." This simple statement challenges the idea that spending more equates to success. Over time, this kind of financial honesty creates a ripple effect, making it easier for others to follow suit. Some colleagues might even realize they've been overspending unnecessarily and start bringing their own lunches too. Budgeting is often treated as something people do in private, as if money matters should be kept secret. But keeping finances hidden can lead to poor decisions. When people don't talk about money, they miss opportunities to learn from others, get advice, and improve their financial habits. Loud budgeting encourages conversations about smart spending, saving, and long-term financial planning. Instead of feeling alone in financial challenges, individuals realize that many others are working towards similar goals. Family dynamics also play a role in the stigma around budgeting. In many households, money is a taboo topic, and financial struggles are hidden. This lack of transparency makes it difficult for people to develop healthy financial habits. Loud budgeting can help shift this cycle. A parent who openly talks to their children about budgeting teaches them that money management is a normal part of life. For example, a family deciding to cut back on dining out can explain, "We're cooking at home more often so we can save for a fun vacation next year." This kind of openness helps children develop a positive relationship with money from a young age. The workplace is another area where money conversations are often avoided. Employees may feel pressured to contribute to group gifts, team lunches, or expensive after-work outings, even if it strains their budget. Loud budgeting allows people to set financial boundaries without guilt. Instead of feeling obligated, someone could say, "I'd love to join, but I'm focusing on my savings this month." This approach not only reduces financial stress, but also encourages workplaces to be more inclusive by considering different financial situations when planning events. Breaking the stigma around budgeting also means challenging the belief that financial success is measured by spending. Many people associate wealth with visible signs of luxury, but true financial stability comes from smart money management, not reckless spending. Loud budgeting shifts the focus from short-term indulgence to long-term financial health. It encourages people to celebrate saving just as much as they celebrate spending. For instance, imagine someone who gets a raise at work. Instead of immediately upgrading their lifestyle, they practice loud budgeting by saying, "I'm putting my raise toward my emergency fund so I can have more financial security." This statement challenges the idea that more income should automatically lead to more spending. It also sets a positive example for others who might otherwise feel pressure to inflate their expenses when they earn more. Ultimately, breaking the stigma around budgeting requires a mindset shift. Instead of seeing budgeting as a restriction, it should be viewed as a tool for financial freedom. Loud budgeting normalizes smart financial decisions, reduces social pressure, and empowers people to take control of their money without fear of judgment. By speaking openly about money, individuals not only improve their own financial well-being, but also help create a culture where budgeting is respected, encouraged, and celebrated. Chapter 3. One of the biggest challenges in budgeting is learning to say no to expenses that don't align with financial goals. Many people feel pressured to spend money out of guilt, obligation, or social expectations. Loud budgeting helps remove that pressure by making it clear that financial boundaries are not only acceptable, but necessary. Setting boundaries is not about depriving oneself, but about ensuring that money is being used in ways that truly matter. People often struggle with saying no because they fear disappointing others. Whether it's declining an expensive dinner with friends, skipping a group vacation, or opting out of an office gift collection, the worry about being judged can make it difficult to stick to a budget. Loud budgeting provides a solution by normalizing financial honesty. Instead of avoiding the topic or making excuses, individuals can confidently state their financial priorities. For example, instead of saying, "I just can't afford it," which might invite sympathy or pressure, they can say, "I'm choosing to save for something more important to me right now." This shifts the focus from financial limitation to financial intention. For instance, a person might be invited to a friend's birthday party at a high-end restaurant. Rather than feeling obligated to attend and overspending out of guilt, they could say, "That sounds fun, but I'm sticking to my budget this month. Let's catch up another time." This approach makes it clear that the decision is about financial priorities, not a lack of interest in spending time together. Often, friends will respect this honesty and may even appreciate the reminder to be more mindful of their own spending. Saying no with confidence also applies to family situations. Many people feel pressure to contribute financially to family events, expensive holiday gifts, or even financial support for relatives. While generosity is important, it should not come at the expense of one's financial stability. Loud budgeting allows individuals to set clear boundaries without feeling guilty. For example, someone who is expected to buy expensive gifts for every family member during the holidays might say, "I'm keeping gifts simple this year because I'm focusing on my savings." This statement is clear, honest, and helps set expectations without unnecessary explanations. Workplace spending pressures are another common challenge. Employees are often invited to team lunches, asked to contribute to group gifts, or expected to participate in costly after-work outings. Loud budgeting helps navigate these situations without awkwardness. Instead of avoiding the conversation or making excuses, someone could simply say, "I'm bringing my lunch from home to save for a personal goal." This response makes it clear that the decision is intentional, not due to financial struggle. In many cases, colleagues might even feel relieved to hear someone else set a boundary, as they may have felt similar financial pressure themselves. Social events are one of the biggest areas where financial boundaries are tested. Many people feel obligated to spend money on outings, parties, weddings, or celebrations even when they are on a tight budget. Loud budgeting provides a framework for setting limits without feeling rude or unsupportive. For example, if a wedding invitation includes costly travel and accommodations, someone practicing loud budgeting might say, "I'm so happy for you, but I'm keeping my travel expenses low this year. I'd love to celebrate with you another way." This approach acknowledges the importance of the event while maintaining financial priorities. One of the most effective ways to say no with confidence is to offer alternatives. Instead of simply declining an expensive plan, individuals can suggest budget-friendly options. If friends suggest an expensive night out, someone practicing loud budgeting might say, "I'm cutting back on restaurant spending, but I'd love to host a game night at my place." This keeps social connection strong while reinforcing financial goals. Often, others appreciate the suggestion, as they may also be looking for ways to cut costs without sacrificing social time. The key to setting financial boundaries successfully is consistency. If someone says they are on a budget but constantly makes exceptions, it becomes harder for others to take their financial boundaries seriously. Loud budgeting works best when financial decisions align with the stated priorities. If someone declines an expensive dinner one week but then splurges on an unnecessary shopping spree, their budgeting choices may seem inconsistent. Sticking to financial boundaries consistently helps reinforce the message that budgeting is a priority, not just an excuse. Another important aspect of setting boundaries is recognizing that saying no does not require excessive justification. Many people feel the need to over-explain their financial decisions, but a simple and direct statement is often enough. Instead of feeling the need to provide detailed reasoning, a short response like, "That's not in my budget right now," or "I'm focusing on saving," is enough. The more confident and straightforward the response, the less likely others will question or push back against it. Loud budgeting is not just about saying no, it's about saying yes to what truly matters. Every time a financial boundary is set, it allows for more intentional spending on things that align with personal goals. Instead of spending out of obligation, individuals practicing loud budgeting allocate their money toward experiences, investments, and priorities that bring long-term value. For example, a couple who is saving for a home down payment might decline multiple social invitations that don't fit their budget. By doing so, they're making room for something far more meaningful, owning a home. Rather than feeling deprived, they can take pride in knowing their financial choices are bringing them closer to their goal. In the end, setting financial boundaries is an essential skill for financial success. Loud budgeting empowers individuals to confidently say no to unnecessary expenses while reinforcing the importance of financial priorities. By normalizing financial boundaries, individuals reduce stress, avoid debt, and create a culture where budgeting is respected. The more people practice loud budgeting, the easier it becomes to set limits without guilt. Instead of viewing financial boundaries as restrictive, they can be seen as a powerful tool for financial freedom and long-term success. Chapter 4. Loud budgeting is about more than just saying no to unnecessary spending. It's about openly discussing financial choices, goals, and strategies. Financial transparency removes the secrecy around money and helps people make smarter decisions. Many people struggle with financial issues alone because money is often treated as a private topic. However, openly discussing finances can lead to better money management, stronger relationships, and a greater sense of control. One of the biggest benefits of financial transparency is accountability. When people openly share their budgeting goals, they're more likely to stick to them. For example, someone who tells their friends, "I'm cutting back on eating out to save for a car," is less likely to cave under peer pressure when invited to expensive restaurants. Instead of feeling awkward about declining, they can confidently remind others of their goal. By stating their financial priorities out loud, they reinforce their own discipline and make it easier to stay committed. Financial transparency can also strengthen relationships. Money issues are one of the leading causes of stress in relationships, especially among couples. Many arguments stem from financial misunderstandings, hidden expenses, or mismatched spending habits. Loud budgeting encourages open conversations about money, helping partners align their financial goals. Instead of avoiding the topic, couples can work together to create a budget, set financial boundaries, and make decisions that support their future. For instance, a couple planning their wedding might feel pressure to spend beyond their means. Instead of silently stressing about costs, they can practice loud budgeting by openly stating their priorities. We want a beautiful wedding, but we're sticking to a budget so we can save for a house. This not only keeps their spending in check, but also helps family and friends understand their financial limits. Being transparent about money ensures that both partners are on the same page and prevents financial surprises down the road. Friendships also benefit from financial openness. Many people feel pressured to keep up with friends' spending habits, even when it strains their budget. Loud budgeting eliminates this pressure by making it normal to talk about money. Instead of pretending to afford a lifestyle that doesn't fit their budget, individuals can be honest about their financial goals. A friend who usually joins expensive brunch outings might say, "I'm saving for a vacation, so I'm cutting back on dining out. Let's have a homemade brunch instead." Often, friends appreciate this honesty and may even feel relieved to join in on budget-friendly plans. Another key advantage of financial transparency is learning from others. Many people struggle with money simply because they don't know where to start. Schools rarely teach practical budgeting skills, leaving people to figure out financial management on their own. By talking openly about money, individuals can share budgeting strategies, saving tips, and financial mistakes to avoid. For example, an employee who successfully negotiates a raise might share their experience with colleagues. "I prepared by researching salary benchmarks and highlighting my accomplishments." This kind of financial transparency empowers others to do the same, helping them earn more and improve their financial stability. Similarly, someone who paid off credit card debt could share their approach. "I used the snowball method, paying off my smallest debt first to build momentum." These conversations provide valuable insights that can help others take control of their finances. Workplace financial transparency is also important. Many employees feel uncomfortable discussing salaries, yet wage secrecy often leads to pay disparities. Loud budgeting can include being open about salary expectations, raises, and fair pay. While some employers discourage salary discussions, sharing pay information among colleagues can highlight wage gaps and push for fair compensation. Someone might say, "I found out that others in my role are earning more, so I negotiated a raise." This type of openness encourages others to advocate for themselves, leading to better financial outcomes. Family dynamics also play a role in financial transparency. Many families avoid talking about money, leading children to grow up without essential financial knowledge. Loud budgeting can change this by making money discussions a normal part of everyday life. Parents can explain their budgeting choices to children, teaching them the value of saving and spending wisely. For example, instead of simply saying, "We can't buy that," a parent could say, "We're choosing not to buy that because we're saving for a family trip." This helps children understand financial priorities and develop responsible money habits. Transparency is also crucial when it comes to financial struggles. Many people feel ashamed to admit when they are in debt or struggling to make ends meet. However, hiding financial difficulties only makes them worse. Loud budgeting encourages openness about financial challenges, making it easier to seek support and find solutions. For example, someone struggling with debt might share, "I'm working on paying off my credit cards, so I've cut back on unnecessary expenses." This type of honesty reduces stigma and can even lead to helpful advice or resources from others who have been in similar situations. Social media often presents an unrealistic picture of financial success, with influencers showcasing luxury lifestyles without revealing the financial realities behind them. Loud budgeting counters this by promoting real, honest conversations about money. Instead of pretending to have an unlimited budget, individuals practicing loud budgeting might post, "Skipping the designer bag this month because I'm investing in my future." This kind of transparency helps others see that financial discipline is a choice, not a hardship. While financial transparency is powerful, it's also important to set boundaries. Being open about money doesn't mean sharing every detail with everyone. Loud budgeting encourages selective transparency, being honest about financial goals and boundaries without feeling pressured to disclose everything. For example, someone might choose to discuss general budgeting strategies with colleagues, but keep their exact salary private. The key is to share financial insights in a way that feels comfortable and beneficial. At its core, loud budgeting is about taking control of finances with confidence. By openly discussing money, individuals can break financial taboos, encourage smarter spending habits, and support each other in reaching financial goals. Financial transparency builds a culture where budgeting is respected, savings are celebrated, and financial struggles are addressed without shame. The more people embrace loud budgeting, the more normal it becomes to prioritize financial well-being openly and unapologetically. Chapter 5. One of the biggest challenges in sticking to a budget is dealing with social pressure and the fear of missing out. Many people overspend not because they need to, but because they feel they have to in order to fit in. Whether it's going to expensive dinners, keeping up with fashion trends, or traveling just because friends are, financial decisions are often influenced by what others are doing. Loud budgeting helps break this cycle by allowing people to set financial priorities without guilt. Social pressure to spend can come from many sources: friends, family, social media, and even workplace expectations. For example, a group of friends might regularly go out to expensive restaurants or plan lavish vacations. Someone trying to stick to a budget might feel obligated to participate, fearing they will be left out if they don't. This is where loud budgeting becomes useful. Instead of feeling forced to go along with the spending, they can be upfront and say, "I'm focusing on saving right now, so I'll pass this time." Being direct about financial goals helps set expectations and reduces the guilt that often comes with saying no. A common concern people have when turning down expensive plans is that they will be judged or excluded. However, most people respect honesty and appreciate when someone is upfront about their financial priorities. In some cases, openly discussing money can even encourage others to rethink their own spending habits. For example, if one person in a friend group starts practicing loud budgeting and suggests budget-friendly activities, others might realize they, too, would benefit from cutting back on unnecessary expenses. Instead of losing social connections, they may strengthen them by making financial wellness a shared goal. Social media makes FOMO even stronger. Every day, people see posts of vacations, shopping sprees, and luxury experiences, making it easy to feel like they are missing out if they aren't spending the same way. What those posts don't show is the financial strain that can come with trying to maintain that lifestyle. Many people who appear to be living extravagantly are actually in debt or struggling behind the scenes. Loud budgeting offers a different perspective, one where financial security is prioritized over appearances. Instead of trying to keep up with unrealistic spending, individuals can proudly say, "I'm choosing financial freedom over impulse spending." One way to overcome FOMO is by shifting the mindset from missing out to gaining control. For example, instead of feeling left out because they skipped a costly trip, a person practicing loud budgeting can focus on what they are achieving instead: paying off debt, saving for a home, or building financial security. Keeping track of financial progress can make budgeting feel rewarding rather than restrictive. Every time an unnecessary expense is avoided, that money can be redirected towards something more meaningful. A practical way to handle social pressure is by offering alternatives. Instead of simply declining an invitation, suggesting a budget-friendly option can help maintain social connections without financial strain. For example, if friends invite someone to a pricey restaurant, they might suggest a potluck dinner at home instead. If a group is planning an expensive trip, they could propose a more affordable getaway or a fun local experience. By taking the initiative, they can show that budgeting doesn't mean missing out. It just means being more intentional about spending. Another challenge people face is dealing with family expectations. Many families have traditions that involve spending, such as extravagant holiday gifts, expensive gatherings, or financial support for relatives. Saying no in these situations can be difficult, but loud budgeting provides a way to set boundaries while maintaining strong relationships. For example, instead of feeling pressured to buy expensive gifts, someone could say, "I'm focusing on financial goals, so I'll be giving meaningful but simple gifts this year." By communicating financial priorities clearly, they can help others understand their choices without feeling guilty. Workplace spending pressure is another area where FOMO plays a role. Whether it's contributing to office pools, buying expensive lunches, or participating in costly after-work events, employees often feel obligated to spend money to fit in. Loud budgeting helps navigate these situations by setting clear financial boundaries. For example, an employee might say, "I'm bringing lunch from home to save for a bigger goal." This type of statement reinforces their financial priorities without making others feel uncomfortable. One of the most powerful ways to overcome FOMO is to redefine what success and happiness look like. Many people equate spending with status or fulfillment, but true financial success is about stability and freedom, not appearances. Instead of feeling envious of someone's expensive purchase, a person practicing loud budgeting can take pride in their own financial discipline. Watching savings grow, paying off debt, and working toward long-term goals can be far more satisfying than any impulse purchase. To make loud budgeting easier, it helps to surround yourself with like-minded people. Having friends or a community that values financial responsibility makes it easier to stick to a budget without feeling isolated. Whether it's joining online budgeting groups, talking to financially responsible friends, or even encouraging loved ones to budget together, having support makes the process more enjoyable. At its core, overcoming social pressure and FOMO is about taking control of financial choices. Loud budgeting allows individuals to confidently say no to unnecessary spending while staying connected to what truly matters. Instead of feeling pressure to spend for the sake of fitting in, they can proudly choose financial security and long-term success. When money is spent with intention rather than impulse, every financial decision becomes a step toward a more stable and fulfilling future. Chapter 6. One of the biggest challenges in loud budgeting is having the confidence to stand by financial decisions, even when others question them. Many people struggle with self-doubt when it comes to money, worrying about what others think, or feeling guilty for not spending the way they used to. However, financial confidence is key to sticking with a budget and reaching financial goals. Loud budgeting isn't just about saying no. It's about owning financial choices with pride and not feeling the need to apologize for putting financial security first. Confidence in budgeting starts with having a clear reason behind financial decisions. When people have a strong why, it becomes easier to stay committed. For example, someone who is aggressively paying off debt might remind themselves, "Every dollar I save today brings me closer to financial freedom." Instead of feeling deprived, they can feel empowered, knowing their choices are leading to a better future. Writing down financial goals and tracking progress helps reinforce this mindset. Seeing debt decrease or savings increase is a powerful reminder that budgeting is working. One way to build confidence is by shifting the focus from what's being given up to what's being gained. It's easy to feel like budgeting means missing out, but in reality, it provides financial control and long-term security. For instance, instead of thinking, "I can't go on that luxury vacation," a person practicing loud budgeting might say, "I'm choosing to invest in my future instead." This change in perspective turns budgeting into a positive choice rather than a restriction. Another challenge people face is dealing with criticism from others. Friends, family, and coworkers might not always understand why someone is cutting back on spending. Some may even make comments like, "Why are you being so cheap?" Or, "You only live once, just enjoy your money." These comments can make budgeting feel isolating, but confidence helps push past them. Responding with a firm but positive statement can reinforce financial priorities without being defensive. For example, saying, "I'm focused on financial goals right now, but I'd love to hang out in a budget-friendly way," keeps the conversation open without giving in to pressure. Confidence also comes from normalizing discussions about money. Many people avoid talking about finances because they fear judgment or embarrassment. However, openly discussing budgeting helps remove the stigma around it. When people confidently state their financial priorities, they encourage others to do the same. For example, someone might say, "I'm skipping that event to stay on budget," which could inspire others to reevaluate their own spending habits. By making budgeting a normal and respected topic, loud budgeting becomes easier. One strategy for strengthening financial confidence is practicing financial affirmations. Just like athletes use mental training to stay focused, reinforcing positive financial beliefs helps build a strong budgeting mindset. Phrases like, "I am in control of my money," "I make smart financial choices," and "I prioritize my future over impulse spending" can be repeated daily to build confidence. Over time, these statements help reshape thoughts around money and reinforce financial discipline. Surrounding yourself with supportive people also makes a big difference. Confidence grows when financial choices are respected by those around you. If certain friends or family members constantly pressure someone to spend, it may be time to set boundaries or spend more time with people who share similar financial values. Finding a budgeting community, whether online, through social groups, or among close friends, provides encouragement and motivation. It's much easier to stay on track when surrounded by people who understand and respect financial goals. Avoiding comparison is another key factor in financial confidence. It's easy to look at others and feel behind, especially in a world where social media highlights luxury lifestyles. However, financial success isn't about having the newest car, designer clothes, or expensive vacations. It's about security and freedom. Instead of comparing spending habits, a person practicing loud budgeting can focus on their own progress. A good exercise is to list personal financial achievements, no matter how small. Paying off a credit card, building an emergency fund, or simply sticking to a budget for a month are all wins worth celebrating. One real-life example of financial confidence is someone who chooses to drive an older car rather than taking on a car loan. They might face comments like, "Why don't you get a new car?" Instead of feeling embarrassed, they can respond confidently, "I'd rather invest my money than have a car payment." This type of mindset turns budgeting into a choice rather than a sacrifice. The same applies to housing, dining out, shopping, or any other spending category. Confidence means owning financial decisions without feeling the need to explain or justify them to others. A major part of financial confidence is trusting personal instincts over external opinions. Many people feel pressured to seek approval from others before making financial decisions. However, financial goals are personal, and what works for one person may not work for another. A key lesson in loud budgeting is learning to trust that making smart money choices today leads to a better future. At the core of loud budgeting is the ability to make financial choices with pride, not guilt. Confidence in budgeting allows people to stand firm in their decisions, ignore unnecessary criticism, and focus on long-term success. Every time a smart financial choice is made, it strengthens the ability to make even better decisions in the future. Loud budgeting isn't just about cutting back. It's about stepping into financial power, knowing that every dollar spent or saved is a step toward financial freedom. Chapter 7. Loud budgeting is not just a short-term strategy. It's a long-term mindset that helps people stay in control of their finances. However, like any goal, staying motivated can be challenging, especially when financial progress feels slow or unexpected expenses arise. The key to long-term success is learning how to stay committed while also allowing for adjustments when necessary. Budgeting isn't about perfection. It's about consistency and progress over time. One of the best ways to stay motivated is by celebrating small wins. Many people focus only on big goals like paying off all debt or saving for a house, and get discouraged when results don't happen overnight. However, progress is made up of small steps. If someone manages to save an extra $100 in a month, that's worth celebrating. If they stick to their budget for 3 months straight, that's a victory. Even small achievements like saying no to an unnecessary purchase or choosing a budget-friendly alternative can reinforce financial discipline. Acknowledging these moments keeps motivation high. Tracking financial progress also helps maintain momentum. Seeing tangible results makes budgeting feel worthwhile. Some people use budgeting apps to track their savings and spending, while others prefer a simple spreadsheet or even a handwritten journal. A visual reminder of financial progress, whether it's a chart showing debt going down or a savings goal getting closer, reinforces the benefits of sticking to a budget. For example, someone paying off a $5,000 credit card balance might create a progress chart and mark off every $500 they pay down. Watching the balance shrink over time provides motivation to keep going. Adjusting the budget when necessary is another important part of staying on track. Life is unpredictable, and financial plans may need to change due to unexpected expenses, income fluctuations, or shifting priorities. The key is to adjust without feeling discouraged. For example, if someone faces a surprise car repair that eats into their savings, they might temporarily reduce spending in other areas rather than feeling like they failed. Flexibility in budgeting allows for setbacks without losing overall momentum. Another way to stay motivated is by surrounding yourself with financial inspiration. This could mean following budgeting communities online, listening to financial podcasts, or reading success stories from people who have achieved financial independence. Engaging with positive financial content helps reinforce good habits and provides fresh motivation. For example, someone might listen to a podcast featuring a person who became debt-free and feel inspired to stick to their own plan. The more financial success stories a person is exposed to, the more they believe financial freedom is possible for them too. Accountability also plays a big role in maintaining motivation. Having a budgeting partner, a friend, family member, or even an online group can make a huge difference. Checking in with someone regularly about financial goals adds a level of commitment. For example, two friends might decide to track their spending together and share updates on their progress each month. Knowing that someone else is watching and encouraging them can make it easier to stick to financial goals. One common challenge in budgeting is dealing with setbacks. Unexpected expenses, impulse purchases, or moments of weakness can make it feel like progress has been lost. However, setbacks are a normal part of the process. The key is to avoid an all-or-nothing mindset. For example, if someone goes over budget one month, they shouldn't abandon budgeting altogether. Instead, they can view it as a learning experience, identify what went wrong, and adjust their approach moving forward. Even the most disciplined budgeters have setbacks. What matters is how they respond to them. Another powerful way to stay motivated is by revisiting the original why behind loud budgeting. Financial goals should be personal and meaningful. If someone is budgeting to get out of debt, they can remind themselves of how much less stress they'll feel once they're debt-free. If the goal is to save for a home, picturing themselves in that future home can reignite motivation. Keeping financial goals visible, whether through a vision board, a reminder on their phone, or a written note, helps maintain focus during difficult moments. Making budgeting enjoyable can also help prevent burnout. Many people see budgeting as restrictive, but it doesn't have to feel like a burden. Finding creative ways to have fun while saving money can keep motivation high. For example, instead of seeing eating at home as a sacrifice, someone could challenge themselves to cook restaurant-style meals on a budget. If social activities feel too expensive, they could explore free events in their area. Turning budgeting into a challenge rather than a chore makes it easier to stick with in the long run. It's also important to recognize when financial priorities change. Goals that made sense a year ago might not align with current needs. Periodically reviewing and adjusting financial plans ensures they stay relevant. For example, someone who initially focused on aggressive debt repayment might later shift toward building an emergency fund or investing. Financial success isn't about sticking to a rigid plan. It's about adapting while staying committed to overall financial well-being. Loud budgeting is a journey, not a one-time decision. Staying motivated requires a mix of tracking progress, adjusting when needed, celebrating small wins, and keeping financial goals in focus. By treating budgeting as a flexible and rewarding process rather than a strict rulebook, financial freedom becomes a realistic and achievable goal. The confidence gained through loud budgeting extends beyond money. It empowers people to take control of their lives, make intentional choices, and build a future that aligns with their values. In conclusion, Loud budgeting is more than just a strategy. It's a mindset that empowers people to make smart financial choices without shame or hesitation. By confidently setting boundaries, resisting societal pressures, and focusing on personal financial goals, anyone can break free from unhealthy spending habits and build long-term financial security. While challenges and setbacks may arise, staying committed, tracking progress, and adjusting when needed will ensure continued success. Owning financial decisions with pride not only leads to personal financial growth, but also helps normalize open conversations about money. Loud budgeting isn't about restriction. It's about freedom, control, and the confidence to build a life that truly aligns with financial priorities.